Today we're going to talk about SuperClean. They sent me this hat, shirt, and a couple of their new products. So I'm going to go ahead and try out a couple of these that I don't use normally. So I'm really interested to see how this wheel cleaner works, as well as just this foaming. I don't know if it's going to be the same consistency or concentration as the regular SuperClean that I use out of the gallon, but we'll see. I'm going to try it out. They did send me this little chart here as well to show how you can dilute each thing. But again, who's going to dilute a spray bottle that you get off the shelf? So I'm going to see how it works. I'm going to try it on these plastic dipped wheels on my car. I'm also going to try it on this Camry that has some pretty excessive brake dust up in the front. So let's see how it works. So starting with this wheel cleaner, the instructions do say to do one wheel at a time and rinse it first with cold water. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And if you haven't seen my video before on how I actually have a water supply in my car, go ahead and check that out. I'll have a link up in the top here. But I have my own water coming right out of the car, and I can go ahead and rinse this wheel down. So there we go, we'll just call that a light rinse. I'll shut my water off. Little switch in the back. And now, what we're gonna do is we're going to spray this wheel cleaner on there, and it says to let it sit for 30 seconds while foaming. So let's see how that works. I did notice too, this nozzle is a little bit different on here. It's almost got a screen across it, so we'll see how that works. So there's a lot of foam actually. I'm kind of surprised how much foam is coming out of this. I'm gonna apply this very liberally just because I want to see how much work the foam will do on its own, if it will knock down that brake dust, what it's actually going to be able to pull off this wheel. So like I said, this wheel is plasti dipped, and then the plasti dip is 3 years old almost at this point. So we'll see how it does. I can see that the foam is turning brown already, so that's already a good sign. And even down here I can see that there's a pretty good amount of brake dust rolling off of this. Go ahead and do a little bit more on here. And the instructions say you can agitate this if you have a lot of buildup on the wheel. Again, I don't want to do that. I just want to see how well this will work on its own. So the last steps will be to rinse it off and then dry it with a towel. So again, since these are plastic dipped wheels, I'm not going to dry it with a towel because it's a matte finish. I don't have to worry about these water spots. Another thing I was curious on this product is to see if it's going to melt my plasti dip. And I don't know if that's melting the plasti dip or if that's just dirty on top. So I am gonna wipe this section real quick. Okay, so I'm gonna wipe this again right here, put some more foam on it, and I wanna see if it keeps coming up black, because if it keeps coming up black, then it might be eating the plasti dip. So I think it is actually doing a really good job. I don't think that it's eating the plasti dip. That is nice and smooth like when I first did this. So I'm gonna go ahead and rinse this out again, and we'll see what it looks like. I got this all cleaned up. Now normally, whenever I clean my wheels, what I'll do is, since it again is plasti dip, what I'll do is I'll spray tire shine on top of this, because I know this plasti dip is not in the best of condition. But you could see that a lot of that stuff, the brake dust and everything, was running right off of this. And here's where I wiped it pretty hard, and it still looks pretty good. I don't think that it's eating it. These spots up here that you might see, that's just where it's thin coverage, and over the years it's slowly worn away. But I'm gonna say that's a pretty good win there. Okay, so moving on to the Camry wheel, you can see down here in these little grooves that it is pretty filled with brake dust. So we're gonna go ahead and do the same process. I'll probably just speed through this. That way you can see what I'm doing, but we'll show you the end result here in a minute. as you see it running off, you can still see down here in the bottom that it's not really breaking up that really old, thick stuff down there. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab the cloth and try and scrub on it a little bit. Okay, so that's pretty impressive. With a very light scrubbing with that cloth, I was able to go ahead and get probably 90% of that out of that little groove there. All that brake dust is out. So that was very minimal work on my part, and it looks great. All right, so just trying that wheel cleaner out. That works very well. As you saw in the video so far, that melted it away, and with very minimal scrubbing on my part, I probably could have even just rinsed off most of that, which is very impressive. If you own one of these Toyotas with these hubcaps, you know that they are just brake dust magnets. So now I'm gonna go on my car and we're gonna try out one of these other ones, probably the foaming, either this foaming here or this aerosol one that is apparently a new design. I don't know if there's any benefit to this, but it says you can definitely use it on engines. So we're gonna see what it does. My engine's not super dirty, but it could be better. So let's jump up there. All right, so here's my engine bay. It's pretty dusty. It's not too grimy or anything, no grease. The one point that I am gonna try and focus this all on is down here where I have this vent tube from the transmission. I'll try and zoom in here a little bit so you can see maybe. There is a bit of buildup around down there. It's not terrible, like I said, but you can kind of see it below this trans line here. So I'm gonna try and focus on that section and see if we can see a difference with these products. Okay, so I'm gonna jump right in. We're using this aerosol version. We'll see how it works. My first concern is that this might spray more of a mist than a spray or direct. Oh, it's very foamy. This to me looks a lot like a normal engine degreaser. Now the hard part's gonna be getting it all the way down where I need it, but you can see this is creating a foam, like snow almost on here. And we'll get some up here just so we can compare. So it does say to go ahead and let that sit, I believe. Cover surface with SuperClean and the appropriate strength. Allow time to dissolve grease and grime. So we're gonna give that just a little bit of time, probably till it starts kind of disintegrating like this and all this foam is gone, and then I'll go ahead and rinse it off. So we'll speed through that. Now I do want to point out down here, you can see that the grime is actually coming up. It's turning that foam brown. If I can get it to focus over there for you. This is actually turning brown down here and getting the dirt off of the hose there. Alright, rinsing this off now. It looks like it did do a pretty dang good job. And again, my engine wasn't super dirty by any means. I'll go ahead and rinse up here on the top as well. And if I was using something like this, I mean, I would just spray it on here and then start the engine up after I've rinsed it like this and call it good. So now looking in here, you can see how much cleaner everything is. All the way down there by that little vent tube is significantly cleaner front and back. So I am quite impressed with this. It did a very good job. That hose over here, I didn't even think that it was dirty. I wasn't trying to get anything on this hose, but as you saw, it foamed up and turned brown very quickly. So after this, I would personally maybe wipe off just the engine cover. Again, it's kind of personal preference. I usually treat this stuff anyways afterwards, but for most people, you might just use this spray it over the whole engine bay and then call it good. All right, so one more thing to test. I'm gonna test this other foaming one since I didn't do this on the engine bay. I'm gonna try this because it is kind of designed as a kitchen cleaner. It says it works for almost everything on here. So what I wanna do is I wanna try and use this on this fryer. This is the top cover of a fryer, and I wanna see if it can cut this, because scrubbing this with soap, it does not come off. So let's see how it works. Go ahead and spray it on here and let it run down and see if this cuts that or not. Look at that, it's already cutting it. I'm just gonna keep soaking it and see what happens. But you can see it's running off. If you look real close at the foam here, it is literally melting this oil and grease residue on top of this. I'm gonna keep spraying more on here and let's just see how much this can do, just the foam all on its own. And it does say in all the instructions on this, it says do not let it dry on the surface. Now I don't know if it will cause it to corrode or what's in here. It does say that this is biodegradable, so I don't know what could hurt it unless it's just gonna leave water spots, or maybe you have to add more of this to clean off any part of it that has dried. Okay, so keep in mind, this was just spraying the foaming solution on there, and I didn't agitate this at all. I didn't do anything else, but that has melted everything off of there for the most part. If I spray more coats of this on here, I'm pretty confident that it's gonna clean all of this off, which is amazing, because I spent a good 30 minutes probably scrubbing this piece to try and clean it before, and it didn't really do anything. So this is pretty good stuff. All right, so in conclusion, what do you guys think? I think this stuff has worked fantastic. I'm actually really impressed with this engine cleaner almost. The way that this foams up is a lot like any other engine degreaser that I've used, but I have to say I think this one works better than everything I've used prior. The other one I was really impressed with was the wheel cleaner. I mean, that's not bad. I haven't looked up how much this stuff costs off the shelf, but if it's like SuperClean's other products, they're really not that pricey compared to some of the other big name items. So if you guys liked what you saw in this video was sponsored by SuperClean, I guess you could say. They did send me these products for free, but this is my honest opinion. I've used their products, you've seen as much as I have to this point, and I'm pretty damn impressed. It's great. So if you want to pick up any of these products, I will have links in the description, probably to Amazon, and if you use those links to Amazon, I do get a kickback, so I would really appreciate if you purchase off Amazon. If not, I do believe these might be sold at Walmart's or even O'Reilly's and AutoZone. See you next time.